Hey everyone, just a really quick heads up that this is a review of the Rode Wireless Go 2, and just in case that throws you off, I've done a review on the Rode Wireless Me just a little while ago, and I'll drop you the link to that down in the video description. So this is the review of the Rode Wireless Go 2, and there's a little bit of a comparison to the Me in this video as well. But with that confusion hopefully avoided, let's jump into the video. Hey everyone, and welcome to a very energetic review of the Rode Wireless Go 2, a compact wireless microphone system that will give you full freedom of movement when you're recording your audio. This is the Rode Wireless Go 2. It consists of a dual channel receiver and two transmitters that allow you to record your audio wirelessly at a range of up to 200 meters. Now, you're hearing the audio of the Wireless Go 2 right now, completely unprocessed, just so that you have an idea of what exactly the audio quality sounds like. And just for comparison, here is a sample using my Rode VideoMic NTG, which is the microphone that I usually use when I sit at my desk to record these talking head videos. The Rode Wireless Go 2 will set you back around about $300 if you purchase it with two transmitters. You can also get a single transmitter version for $199, which is just $50 more than the Rode Wireless Me, which I reviewed just a little while ago on this channel, and I'll drop you the link to that video down below if you want to check that out. Now, if you're wondering what's the actual difference between the Wireless Me and the Wireless Go 2, the Wireless Me has a range of up to 100 meters. The Go 2 will take you up to 200 meters of range. The Go 2 also has an LED display on the receiver itself so that you can see your incoming volume as well as the battery life of all of your connected transmitters. Each transmitter of the Go 2 also has an internal memory, so you can record directly onto the transmitter as a backup in case your audio drops out, and that will give you up to 40 hours of recorded audio as a fail-safe backup. And it has a safety channel that automatically records your audio at its current volume as well as at 20 decibels less. In case you have any clipping, you've got the lower level version to fill in with that. Now, on the other hand, the Wireless Me has something called Gain Assist, which is a technology that helps you automatically level out spikes and drops in your audio volume without having to manually adjust for that. And it has a microphone in the receiver itself so that the person behind the camera at the receiver end can also talk into it, and that also gets recorded into the same system. Now, Rode also recently released the Wireless Pro, which costs you about $400 and has even more advanced features, and I might make a video on that a little bit further down the line. Before this moves on to a second date, I do want to call out that this video is sponsored by Rode. I was actually looking to upgrade my old lapel microphone. I was looking at some of their wireless options, and I reached out and they said, you know, why don't we just send you a couple to try out, to keep, and then to share your experience online. I'm like, yep, I can do that. I really like their microphones. I've been using them since way before Rode even knew I existed. And I also really like supporting a local Aussie company. So thank you very much for that, Rode. I always try my absolute best to be as objective as I possibly can when I review any gear. But I just want to be very transparent and upfront about my relationship with Rode, just so that you're all aware. Now, because the Rode Wireless Go 2 has been out for quite a while already, in this video I want to do things slightly differently. The main thing I want to do is run you through a whole bunch of different scenarios, different situations in which you might be recording and finding yourself in need of a wireless microphone solution. And I want to show you what exactly the audio quality is like using this microphone. And for comparison, I'll then also show you examples of recording those situations with your camera's inbuilt microphone, just so you have a point of comparison and you can, decide for yourself whether you think it's worth your money. Only after that will I run you through the specs for this microphone system, and I'll keep it fairly high level and to what I think is relevant for using these microphones on a day-to-day basis. And at the end, I want to share a little bit of my own experience using these microphones out in the wild and talk a little bit about what I like and don't like about them. But now let's check out all of the examples so that you can hear for yourself what the Rode Wireless Go 2 sounds like out in the field. If you enjoy vlogging while you're on the road, you may want to consider getting a wireless microphone system just to improve the audio quality. And here's an example of what that would sound like with the Rode Wireless Go 2. And just for comparison, here's what vlogging in your car sounds like using your default camera's microphone, which in my case is an iPhone. Here's an example of what the audio quality with this microphone would be like if you're out and about with friends and family at a pretty noisy food court. And just for comparison, here's what the exact same scene would sound like if you're just using your camera's default microphone. Well, Tobias, what are your thoughts on using the Rode Wireless Go 2 for two-way intersituations such as this one? Well, Tobias, I don't think I'm really in the best position to judge, which is why I've set up this weird cloning talking to myself example, just so that my audience can listen to what this would sound like in exactly this situation. And just for comparison, here's what this fake interview situation would sound like if you use your camera's inbuilt microphone. If you are intending to record yourself talking to the camera while working out, here's an example of what that would sound like using the Rode Wireless Go 2. And just for comparison, here's what that scenario would sound like using your camera's inbuilt microphone. This is the audio quality you get with the Wireless Go 2 if you're somewhere awkward where it's square walls and there's a lot of echo. For comparison, this is what that same awkward situation would sound like with your camera's inbuilt microphone. If you're out and about on a windy day, you're likely going to get a lot of wind noise on your microphone, and this is what the Wireless Go 2 sounds like out and about on a windy day. For comparison, this is what the microphone sounds like out on a windy day once you've got the Furry windscreen attached.
If you ever wondered what it sounded like doing ASMR on the Rode Wireless Go 2, here's a couple of examples.
If you're out and about vlogging in the city or shopping center and it's generally not too crowded, this is the audio quality that you would get. And again, for comparison, this is what that same scenario would sound like with your camera's default microphone. This is a bit of a range test for the Rode Wireless Go 2, as it's rated for a distance of up to 200 meters, as long as you're within line of sight of your camera and you're not getting totally out of breath getting back to where you put it. Here's an example of the audio quality that you can get with this microphone if you're out in a crowded area such as a city or a shopping center. Just for comparison, here's what that exact same scenario would sound like if you're just using your camera's default microphone. It's cold and rainy and this is likely going to be the last clip I will be filming for today, but here's an example of what this microphone sounds like if you're filming next to a busy road. And just so that you have a point of comparison, here's what the same scenario sounds like using the inbuilt camera microphone. And that's it for the scenarios. Let's talk about the specs. The Rode Wireless Go 2 uses a Series 4 2.8 GHz digital transmission. The signal is encrypted at 128 bits and it gives you a range of up to 200 meters, which, me playing around with it out in the park, running away further than my camera could even see, sounded pretty accurate. On the receiver, you have an LED display that shows you all of your connected transmitters, as well as their signal strength and battery life. You have controls to adjust the input volume, mute your transmitters, split or join them, and enable or disable the safety channel. You have a 3.5mm TRS output to connect the microphone to your digital camera, to a smartphone, or to your computer's microphone input. And it has a USB-C port that is used both for charging, but it also turns the Go 2 into a USB microphone that you can then use in Rode Connect, OBS Studio, or any other program you may be using. On each transmitter, you find the actual microphone, but also a 3.5mm TRS microphone input, battery and connectivity indicators, and a USB-C connector for charging, but also for accessing your onboard backup recordings. The transmitters as well as the receiver have an inbuilt rechargeable lithium-ion battery that, once fully charged, lasts you up to 7 hours. And that's it for the specs. Now, I've been out and about for a little while with the Wireless Go 2, trying it in all sorts of different scenarios, and I have to admit that I'm actually really impressed with the quality of this wireless microphone system. The audio comes through really nice and clear, even at a pretty large range, as long as you're within line of sight of your camera. And it does cut out a lot of the background noise when you're driving or you're out in crowded areas, which is the benefit of having a lapel microphone, because it sits right on your lapel and picks up really clearly what's happening in front of your mouth. Similar to the Wireless Me, which I tried just a little while ago, I really like how easy the system is to use. You simply turn on the receiver and the transmitter, they automatically connect and sync up, and then you just plug the receiver into your camera or your phone or your computer, and you're good to go to record your audio at up to 200 meters as long as you're within line of sight of the camera. Now, if you're a little bit of a nervous person, the nice features about the Go 2 over the Wireless Me is the LED display shows you whether you're connected and what your input volumes are, so you can make sure that, yep, everything is set up properly. Also, you have a safety channel to fall back on in case you've set the input level on your camera too hot and you get audio clipping. You've got a lower volume backup copy, and because it has internal recording on both transmitters, means that even if the audio gets cut out for whatever reason, up to 40 hours of your content will be recorded onto the transmitters directly, and you just pull them off via USB-C. Just a couple of things to note that I wish were different about this device. First off, it's not a super subtle system. The transmitters, they weigh a little bit. They kind of, sometimes drag your shirt down a little bit, so you can definitely feel them, and they're quite noticeably because they're not as subtle and tucked away in your lapel like an actual little wired microphone. But it's also because they contain all of the electronics for internal recording and actually transmitting that signal back to the receiver. So by their nature, they're a little bit more bulky than some of the more subtle options that you may have. Now, one thing I generally find with all lapel microphones is that they just sound a little bit duller, a little bit more muffled. They have a little bit more low frequencies, simply because of where the microphone sits. It kind of gets shadowed by your chin quite easily. You can easily fix all of that out with some post-processing. It's just something to be aware of. Also, because the front of these devices is glass, it's a little bit of a fingerprint and smudge magnet. So when you stuff it in your pockets or in the little provided pouch, after a little while, you can see that people have handled them. So you may want to wipe them down every now and then if that stuff bothers you. Also, do note that the TRS to TRRS cable that you need to connect this microphone to a smartphone is not included in the actual pack. You have to purchase that separately, but you do get the USB-C cables included, and you get the cables to connect it to your digital camera, which is a TRS to TRS cable. So that's all included. But just to call out that if you want to connect it to a mobile phone, you do need to purchase an additional cable on top of what's included in the box. And that's all there is to it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you do want to support me, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It makes a huge difference and I really appreciate it. All comments, questions or suggestions, just leave them down below the video. And with that, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I will see you later.